Hey, you want to hear something funny, man? I had something I wanted to talk to you about, but it totally slipped my mind, man. I'll let you know when I remember what it was, man. Sorry about that.
No problem. Feel free to drop by when you remember what it was.
It's a Western Conference game on display featuring the Sacramento Kings. Kevin Harlan here with Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday afternoon. It's the NBA on 2K Sports. And now we take a brief check at the matchups. Our starting five for both teams. One of the guys we'll be watching out for today, Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, he's somebody who's very comfortable with the ball in his hands. And it's amazing to see the dribbling skills on display when you watch him play.
And also, if you watch him on the defensive end, you can see how tough it is to screen him off a play. I mean, he goes through it, around it, or under. He finds a way to shake off screens.
Taking a look at the Clippers. They're pretty rattled right now after a road trip in which they did not win a game. Now they hope to get back on track here at home.
Well, I think for Los Angeles, they've started the season in a tailspin. This was not what was supposed to happen.
It's almost like they were too relaxed coming into the season. I mean, you can't just expect to be good. You've got to earn it in this league. It's too competitive.
5 on the clock, and it's Paul penetrating. The open shot, Crawford, and a great assist by Paul as that one goes in. Crawford's got his second basket.
Well, the Kings gave up the most points in the league last season, guys, but new coach Mike Malone has a great reputation as a defensive mind. He's shown that as an assistant with the Hornets and the Warriors. And in both cases, he helped those teams get better defensively. They're expecting him to do the same thing with the Kings.
And you look at the defensive numbers for the Kings last season, one of the worst rebounding teams in the league, among the lowest in blocks, in fact, Steve, in the NBA.
Yeah, there wasn't much going defensively in terms of a scheme and a competitive edge to this team. And that's what Mike Malone is trying to bring to them. He wants to hold them accountable, to really bring a toughness and an edge defensively. That's the goal this year.
And that basket is going to count. Goaltending, the official call.
That finish brings me back to the old days, the silky smooth finger roll.
Landry, screen on Crawford. It's Marion with the drive, deflected, and stolen by Barnes. Paul with the ball, now guarded by Mbamute, and the slam by Blake Griffin.
You can see the eye contact there. Gave a little nod and then burst to the rim for the alley-oop slam.
No doubt, Clark. A pair of teammates with a terrific feel for each other out on the floor.
And what a play to make in a close game, a potential momentum builder.
You know, for a long time, people would look at Staples as the Lakers' home where the Clippers just happened to be sharing space. But the Clippers let everybody know that they called this Staples Center home as well last year. And I thought they were a force in front of their rabid fans.
Well, Clark, as you said, the Clippers really starting to make waves on the landscape here in L.A. as they surpassed the Lakers in wins last season. You know, a big part of that was, Steve, their ability to win here at home.
Yeah, 32 wins here at Staples, and when they got out and ran, this place was really rocking. And this Clipper team has a roster full of guys that can make a play that ignites a crowd, and some new additions this year, new coaching staff. A lot going on for this Clipper team.
And it's out of bounds. The Clippers able to retain possession here. Doris Burke has some information for us. Doris?
Hey, Kevin, I caught up with Coach Doc Rivers. He told me he's wary about how they'll contend with DeMarcus Cousins inside. He said he's a beast in there, no doubt about it. Size, length, strength, and a ton of skill. The talent is really off the charts with him. And guys, he knows it won't be easy to muscle Cousins away from the rim, but he said that's what they've got to find a way to do. It won't be easy.
And as always, Doris, thank you. Marion backing down. The Kings need to get off a shot here. That's good. Thomas got 6.
This looks like a pregame shoot-around with all the threes they're allowing.
Yeah, I don't know, Clark. I think there might be even more defense in warm-ups. I mean, this is kind of embarrassing.
Now here's Paul. Last time out, he had 14 points. Jordan, the pass to Barnes. He dishes it to Paul. And he uses the glass on the layup.
And that's a difficult shot in the face of a defender that towers over him.
Well, you know, he almost seems to enjoy those mismatches, Steve. It gives him a chance to show what a strong finisher he is.
Now here's Marion. He's coming off an unbelievably high-scoring game. Nice D from Crawford.
You know, his finishing ability leaves a lot to be desired, guys. He needs to take it to the basket stronger.
Griffin is doing amazing things on the court and off the court. I mean, his charisma and sense of humor really have made him one of the more marketable players in the entire league.
I like the call. I thought the defense was moving there.
Yeah, I think he slid underneath. Good blocking call that trip.
J.J. Redick's checked in for Jamal Crawford.
Well, it happens. He's wide open, but just couldn't get it to go.
Barnes kicks to Redick. Stolen by Thomas. On the wing, Marion. He feeds it to Cousins. Comes up empty down low. Going back to Griffin, he spent a summer interning with an LA-based comedy website I'm reading here. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he has a love for comedy, and, you know, playing in LA, that's a great opportunity for him to work on the entertainment side of things. And, of course, he does have a real job with the Clippers. He's got to focus there.
He does. You know, but those commercials he's in are funny.
They are good.
They're good. Here's Marion, and he goes up strong with one hand and flushes it down. Nice hops and determination that time, Clark, to get to the rim.
We know he can bounce, and right there an example of how dangerous he is when he's got a path to the hoop.
And you love the versatility, guys. Being a point guard, and in this situation, they tack on 2 more points, expanding the lead in a pretty deflating way for the defense.
Jordan, and it's in off the backboard. Looking at Los Angeles, they want to turn it around after the loss to the Thunder in Oklahoma City.
And it's hard to point out anything that they did well in that loss. I mean, the game never got out of hand, but they were pretty shaky across the board.
And, Steve, you know how optimistic and positive I am, and I had a tough time finding anything positive either. I mean, my goodness, they did keep it somewhat close. I guess that's the best I can say at this point.
Well, what's the old saying? If you can't say something nice about someone, don't say anything at all. And they've set up countless buckets off assists. That's a huge part of what they've been doing here today.
A lot of dime dropping going on out there, Steve.
Now here's Paul, averaging 18 points a game. And Griffin backs in. Paul kicks to Griffin. Barnes. Jordan inside. He's guarded by Cousins.
And they're beginning to fall apart a little bit defensively, especially inside.
Well, that's 4 straight buckets now at the rim.
Thomas against Paul. Marion outside. 3-pointer. Good, and the assist goes to Thomas. That's 12 points for Marion.
They're in the position they're in right now, thanks in no small part to the show that he's putting on in this period.
Paul dishes to Barnes. The pass to Griffin. He kicks to Paul. Beyond the arc. The feed now to Redick. Pass to Griffin. Down low. Goes back up. Here's Paul. An amazing finish with a hand right in his face. Paul's got 6 points.
That's the 3rd bucket in a row from the paint. This defense needs to clog those lanes in the middle much more effectively.
Yeah, and until they do, the problems inside are only going to get worse. Seems like guarding him on the perimeter is not a priority for this defense, but it will become one if he continues to knock them down.
Kings leading now by 7. Marion passes to Mbamute. Near the three-point line, it's Thomas. It's hauled in by Los Angeles. They traveled to Sacramento last time they faced the Kings and came away with a win.
How about the box score from that game? The accuracy from the three-point line, just remarkable.
Yeah, it was a stream of threes that allowed them to repeatedly deflate that crowd.
Here's Marion after the made shot from Reddick. Marion left side. Marion left side. So he gets the whistle. Contact on the way up and 2 shots coming up.
Sacramento really had a lot of problems finding consistency game to game, and it showed up when they would have to take on other teams in the West. Just didn't look quite as cohesive and as desperate to win as the rest of the conference, and that ends up costing you games.
Here's what Sacramento's going with right now. Jason Thompson is checked in for Cousins. Patterson comes in for Carl Landry. And Travis Outlaw subbed in for Mbamute. Shots good by Mullins. Well, Clark, as you said, the Kings struggled against the West, really against Western teams not in their division. They would play the division tough, but didn't do much against, Steve, the other 2 Western divisions.
Well, they only won 14 games against the rest of the conference, which was the fewest of any team in the West last year. But of those 14 wins, 7 came against the Pacific. So that's kind of interesting when you look at the disparity between their wins.
Now Marion. After the missed 3 from Dudley. Rejected by Griffin. Out of bounds, the Clippers take possession. Let's quickly bring up the 2K leaderboard for a look at the top free throw shooters among point guards. Number 1, Darren Collison.
And he's been a model of consistency at the free throw line. He's as dependable up there as he is on the floor at any given moment.
Steve, you take a look at him when he's up there. I mean, he's a cool customer, a real cool dude.
Dishes to Landry. Back to Marion. Outside Thomas. For the 3. Second chance shot. Marion kicks to Cousins. And Jordan sends it back. Last outing for Sacramento, they won that game against the Suns in Phoenix.
And you know what was most impressive? They wasted very few possessions in that game. They ran their offense close to perfection.
That's what we call a mute button game in front of a hostile crowd. They never let the fans get into it. Had them on their hands the whole time.
Crawford and Barnes filling out the wings. Blake Griffin down low and DeAndre Jordan. And it's Paul in at the 1 spot. That's who's out there for the Clippers. The shot's good from Griffin.
Fantastic pass. He turned that one into a pretty easy basket for his teammate.
Out of bounds, the Clippers take possession.
Let's take a look at some numbers for DeMarcus Cousins. 2nd in field goal percentage, and he's in the top 15 in points per game. So he's a guy you have to account for defensively.
And let's look at his phenomenal field goal percentage again, Steve. I mean, that's really a function of good teammates, a good system, but most of it is just taking good shots and making most of them.
Griffin cleans up the mess with the savage put-back flush. And the Clippers lead by 2.
A beast on the glass on that play. He wasn't going to be denied, not at all.
Crawford with the ball. He's coming off a 19-point game against the Thunder in Oklahoma City. Marion with the steal. And let's now go to the sideline. We'll catch up here with Doris Burke. Doris?
Well, the eraser in the last matchup against the Suns was superb. He had 58 points and rounded out a solid overall game, playing lockdown defense and finding open teammates. It was a performance for the ages and one that will have the whole league talking.
And thank you, Doris. It was a performance that has to have their upcoming opponents terrified, Clark.
Well, I know this opponent should be terrified because there's a good chance the momentum he gathered that night carries right over into this game.
Well, some of it will carry over. That's inevitable. It's just a matter of how much.
With all of the on-court skills that Chris Paul possesses, perhaps his greatest attribute is the leadership he brings to a team. He just has a way about bringing guys together, encouraging them while also challenging them and holding them accountable.
Sacramento's gone 7 of 11 from deep tonight, using the three-pointer to their advantage. Marion dishes to Thomas. Thomas off a pick from Marion. Thomas passes to Marion, feeds to Mba Amute. Back to Marion. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Knocks it loose. It's Thomas outside. They get it back. Uses the glass to finish the layup. Landry's got 4 points now in the quarter.
Well, Landry has just a big motor. He can play so hard as soon as he gets into the game that he makes a major impact on the game. He's relentless in his pursuit of offensive rebounds, and he's always going to fight you for the ball.
Yeah, you know, those offensive rebounds are always huge. You also need to be able to finish through contact if you're undersized, and Landry can do that too. He can get a guy up in the air, lean into him, and finish the play while earning a trip to the free throw line. Here's what Sacramento's going with right now. Patterson comes in for Carl Landry, and it's Thornton in for Isaiah Thomas. Tremendous stuff from a guy, Clark, we think more of for his passing.
Yeah, but he's got tremendous leaping ability and a surplus supply, too.
Well, that's a great aggressive move, and 2 big points, too.
And Griffin scores. The assist by Crawford. That's 12 points for Blake Griffin.
And he's shaking off a poor first quarter shooting effort. He's really starting to turn it on now, guys.
It's Marion with the drive. He passes to Patterson. Back to Marion. Patterson setting the pick for Marion. Now the dish to Patterson. Marcus Thornton on the wing. And again, it's Sacramento converting. Clippers trail by 3. Paul with the ball. Guarded now by DeMarcus Cousins. It's Marion with the drive. So the whistle blows on the shot, and 2 free throws for the contact right there.
When you're hot, you're hot, and that's certainly been the case for Marion. 25 points, and from downtown, he's buried 3 3-pointers.
Yeah, when he's been able to get squared up and get a good look at the basket, it seems like everything's been going in.
And he makes the first.
Well, you look at the Clippers, and they clearly are one of the most entertaining teams in the NBA. One of the outstanding team shows you'll see. They have fun, they're up and down, but they're a hard-working group, and a lot of that you have to attribute to their leader, Chris Paul.
And that one goes in. 2 from the line that time. Well, Clark, as you were taking a look at the Clippers, they are a fun team, an amazing product so far with big names all around. But, you know, Steve, they've got to work hand in hand to make sure they're always at their best and not take things for granted.
Well, I think it's still a team that's a work in progress. You've got a young front line in Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, great point guard in Paul, but the new additions have helped, and I think it'll be interesting to see if this team can gel during the playoffs.
Pass to Outlaw. Kicks it to Cousins. Outlaw. He dishes it to Marion. 6 to shoot. He feeds it to Outlaw. Again, the miss by the Kings. Clippers trail by 5. On the wing, Jamal Crawford. He's guarded by Cousins. And Dudley kicks to Mullins. Tries to save it. Out of bounds. Sacramento takes possession. Here we are in November. Let's see how things are shaking out in the West early in the season. Take a look at the Kings. So far, they've got the 4th best record in the conference. And, of course, the Clippers. Quite a few spots down the ladder right now.
Checking out Los Angeles, they've been totally out of sync at the beginning of this season. They still haven't found their identity. They don't know who they are and what they do best.
I have no idea what they are either, Clark. I mean, this is a team that really is just kind of hard to figure out. And I think they may have to make some changes to try to get themselves going.
Collison against Marion. Here's Dudley. Rejected by Outlaw. Here's Marion. Pass to Thornton. Shakes off the strong D and gets to the bucket for two. And it's a 10-point Kings lead. And a closer look here at the hustle stats for the Kings.
Boy, you have to admire their intensity in the paint defensively. I mean, really contesting and even blocking shots. Definitely a factor early.
And the other thing they're doing is forcing a lot of turnovers, and that's helping them to get easy points at the other end.
Vasquez, he's checked in for the Kings. Good. And that's 11 points for Jamal Crawford.
Well, he's been a real positive factor for them today, although, you know, as a team, they've had a lot of negatives mixed in there as well.
That's the risky run by staying out there as he picks up his third.
The Kings have been at their finest form at the free throw line tonight. 8 attempts, 8 makes. And Marion drops them both.
You know, you go through the regular season, guys, and set all sorts of records for your franchise and wins and winning streaks and all that. You win your division for the first time ever, your first 50-win season, and what do you get for it? Bounced in the first round of the playoffs. It's still progress, though, and I think the Clippers will use that for motivation this season.
Here's Crawford. He kicks it to Collison. Gets it to go.
They have repeatedly probed inside in the first half, guys, and it's paid dividends.
Yeah, it sure has, Clark. I mean, with as many points as they've gotten in the paint, they really haven't had to do much on the perimeter.
Clark, as you said, the Clippers got up 2-zip on the Grizzlies, but all of a sudden it came to a crashing halt. As Steve, they dropped 4 consecutive games, and just like that, we're out of the postseason.
Yeah, injuries played a part. Blake Griffin sprained his ankle, but I think the Clippers were exposed a little bit too. They're limited offensively on the front line, and maybe not quite enough shooting, but that's why they made the moves in the offseason, and they're looking to pick up and make some improvement in that regard.
Looky here. How about that one? That play. Take that play and put it in the alley-oop textbook for future reference.
Perfectly done. He put it on a platter for him.
He sure did. And how about the touch on the finish, too? That was really nicely done.
Thornton passes to Cousins. And foul called as he misses. He'll go to the line and shoot 2.
Guys, DeMarcus Cousins, the 5th pick out of Kentucky back in 2010. Nobody questions this guy's talent. He has tremendous skill. Players with his size and skill don't come along very often.
And the second free throw, good. And Clark, you mentioned the size for Cousins. Physically, he can overpower Steve a lot of players.
Yeah, tremendous rebounder, and he can get to the foul line. Offensively, you know, he's got the ability to step out on the floor and make shots. I mean, he's really got the total package. The question is, can he just improve his overall game? Can he continue to mature and become the dominant player that he's capable of?
It'd be interesting to see him on a good team. You know, with some real nice role models on that team.
Absolutely.
People rave about his skill set. Landry inside. Griffin on him. Vasquez kicks to Cousins. Marion. Cousins with a screen on Collison. Back to Cousins. And that one's good. Cousins has got 5.
Perfect screen there. Set him up with a nice look.
Poor job by the defender to not fight over or around that screen.
And the first half is now in the books. Kings ahead, up 10. Well, folks, stay tuned for the halftime show at Damon Bruce.
And now, brought to you by Sprint.
Saturday.
The Sprint Halftime Report, presented by Sprint.
Now the second half about to start up and begin any moment. It's been a clinic out there by the Eraser.
Well, he shot his share of free throws, that's for sure. I mean, he got to the line, drew contact, and you love getting to the free throw line. Easy points if you can get them.
Steve, I think they may have to rotate the defensive assignment on him from now on just to avoid foul trouble on any one player. I mean, he's drawing a lot of fouls on guys.
Second half underway. Here's who Mike Malone's got on the floor. Landry and Cousins patrol the paint. The Eraser is out there with Thornton, and it's Mbamute in at the 3 slot.
And you know why he was open there. They didn't commit too much defense to him, and you can see why. He has trouble making that shot.
And keeping us updated from the sideline, let's swing it over to Doris Burke for an update. Hi, Doris.
Gentlemen, you hear murmurs that some in the NBA fraternity consider Blake Griffin a little too nice. Their feeling is that if you get physical with him, you can take him out of his game. It's surprising considering his size and strength. Blake said, "I've never really worried about being called soft. If anybody wants to step up and take that challenge, I'm more than happy off the court because I don't want to get suspended. And guys, he's too valuable to this team to miss games. But some feel he has to retaliate to let opponents know he means business."
That animosity can stick around, Doris. Tough thing. Thank you. And the Kings making a change here. Thomas is checked in. Ball against Marion. 6 on the shot clock. The pass to Cousins. And stolen by Jordan. Now the Clippers moving it up. And the dunk by Barnes.
Boy, I love it. Active hands on the steal, active feet on the fast break.
And Clark power on the dunk.
And guys, this is just too close of a game to be giving the ball up like that and then failing to get back in transition.
Over a minute and a half into the third quarter of action. Paul with the ball, and it's Marion picking him up. Paul dishes to Crawford. Good, and Paul gets the assist. Paul's got 6 assists in the game.
Well, Kevin, probably his greatest value lies in his tremendous three-point shooting. When he's out on the perimeter, it gives them the ability to really stretch the defense out.
And let's not leave out another branding mark of his status as much in the clutch. When a big shot's needed to win a ball game, everybody in the building knows he's going to take it. Doesn't make any difference, though. He still finds a way to knock it down.
Barnes kicks to Griffin. Some nice ball movement by the Clippers. He's guarded by Mbamute. A 3 from Barnes, and that one's good. Barnes has got 5 points now this quarter.
A nice start to the second half. Just one miss in their first 5 attempts.
It's Marion with the drive. Cousins, and lots of contact there. Missing the shot. He'll shoot 2. Jamal Crawford picks one up.
Well, we knew the Pacific was tough last year as a division. They sent 3 teams to the playoffs, and it's one reason why the Kings ended up just above the Suns in the division. Hard to make a lot of headway when you're the 4th best team in your state.
Well, as you said, tough California teams, Clark, populating the Pacific, but the Kings actually did well against them. Better than, in fact, you would expect considering how far apart their win totals were.
Yeah, not bad. Kings went 7-9 in the division. Of course, Phoenix really struggled last year, and that was part of it. The Lakers had a down season as well, but you know, all in all, I think the California teams are looking stronger going forward, particularly Golden State and the Clippers. So it's going to be tough in that division.
Marion gets the screen from Cousins. Marion kicks to Cousins, and stolen by Barnes. Now the Clippers moving it up. That's good from Crawford on the assist by Barnes. 16 points for Jamal Crawford.
Well, when they desperately needed to get things turned around, they were able to do it and claw their way back in.
And they fed off their defense just as much as their offense in putting this run together.
Things have kind of gone south for them here in the quarter.
Paul passes to Barnes. Offensive rebound. And they take the lead. They got on this roll a while ago, and they just haven't looked back. Clark and Steve Heater's side has relented a bit in this back-and-forth affair.
Well, 8 lead changes, Kevin, so far as the teams are battling it out here in the third.
That's all building towards what could be a great finish. This will be fun to watch.
Gets it to go. And that's now 7 points for DeMarcus Cousins.
How about the delivery in the lane? Just perfectly done.
Marion with the steal. With the lead pass. Shot's good from Mbamute. And taking a quick look here at the hustle stats for the Kings.
Boy, defensively, they've played with a high energy level, guys, and all the steals we've seen, really a result of that aggressiveness.
They've been firing on all cylinders in the transition game, too. I mean, they've really run the break well.
Paul dishes to Crawford. Off target with his 3.
You know, even though he missed that three-point shot, I think the defense has to do a better job of challenging the shot.
Yeah, because you know, if you continue to give up open looks like that, you're in big trouble.
Second shot opportunity. And he sinks the layup. Crawford's got 18 points in the game.
You got to put bodies on the glass right there. They just are not getting it done on the boards.
Yeah, they've got to do a much better job of going harder than that to the glass.
Marion kicks to Mbamute. Back to Marion. Shot clock at 5. There's the feed to Thomas. Marion outside. Mbamute. And a foul called on the shot. Got him on the way up that time, so he'll shoot 2 right here.
One of the things that really jumps out at you about the Clippers is their depth. Really impressive. I mean, they've surrounded their stars with a bench that includes Jamal Crawford, who was second in the voting for Sixth Man of the Year. They've got a nice second unit.
McLemore's checked in for DeMarcus Cousins.
Crawford kicks to Jordan. Paul hit his leg. And the ref saying he kicked it. Crawford outside. Passes it to Griffin. Rebound by the Kings. And Mbamute has got his 7th rebound here tonight. And we talk about the bench for the Clippers last season. Also guys like Matt Barnes and Lamar Odom. Steve, some good defensive tenacity there too.
Yeah, they had an edge. You know, Barnes really gave them some toughness and some grit. I thought Crawford's shooting gave them some balance where they had a good offense to go with good defense. And then Bledsoe slashing. They were a lot of fun to watch, that bench unit.
The Kings making a switch here. Thornton's checked in. J.J. Redick's checked in for Los Angeles. Here's Collison, rejected by Mbamute.
This game has been very close in a lot of areas, but rebounding is one thing that they've been able to dominate.
Yeah, they've chased down that pumpkin often.
Clippers trail by 3. Out of bounds, Sacramento takes possession. Now let's jump over to the 2K leaderboard to get an idea of which big men have been this season's most elite low-post scoring threats. Blake Griffin, number 1. DeMarcus Cousins is 2nd.
And there are different styles among those big men, but they have one thing very much in common. They can dominate offensively, face up or back to the basket. They can get it done.
And that's what makes that list so intriguing to me, Steve, just how varied it is in terms of technique each of those big men use. I mean, you could fill a textbook by taking a little piece of each of their games. I mean, they all do something different and unique and do it well. It was a nice season for former Indiana Pacer Darren Collison last year. Acquired by the Mavs, he stepped into the starting role and responded fairly well.
Thornton, he's guarded by Dudley. And it's Marion. That time on the assist from Thornton. And that's 38 points for Marion.
His work at the offensive end has been phenomenal. Maybe reason number 1, they're ahead.
Marion with the steal. The finish. Hammers it home to polish off the break.
Boy, extremely opportunistic defense leading to those points there.
That dunk, Clark, coming within seconds of the steal.
Love the way they convert from defense to offense.
But that's what happens when you get all 5 guys on a string defensively ready to react and make a play.
There's the double team with Landry. Collison with it, and it's Marion picking him up. Dudley the pass to Griffin. And so he draws the foul on the shot, a trip to the line to shoot 2. And for Collison last season, he shot the ball well and upped his rate of scoring and assists.
And it's the increase in assists that encourages me, Kevin. He's not a dynamic playmaker, but I think he's becoming a solid one. And with his quickness and shooting, he really just needs to be more of a point guard, more of a distributor to reach his full potential.
Marion kicks to McLemore. Some nice ball movement here by the Kings. And Mbamute dishes to Landry. 5 to shoot. Gets it to go. Marion's got 43 points.
This is unbelievable. What a shooting exhibition we're seeing out there today.
Clippers trail by 8. Here's Redick. Right now averaging 7 points a game. That's going to be out of bounds. Los Angeles will retain possession.
Well, I know we're not too far along in the season yet, Kevin, but let's see how the Clippers have done so far in the league rankings. 2nd in fewest turnovers per game. 3rd in assists. And they're a top 10 team in three-point shooting.
And Clark, you know, when you commit so few turnovers, it's key because you become a much better offensive team. You're constantly getting looks at the basket, and your defense isn't vulnerable either because you're able to get back in transition so much easier.
And Doris Burke has a report for us from the sideline.
Guys, Doc Rivers, the new head coach of the Los Angeles Clippers, said after last season, quote, "There were times last year when they were the best team in the league. So I clearly think this is an extremely talented basketball team. But can we do that now in the postseason as opposed to just the regular season? That'll be the true test, gentlemen."
Yeah, championship mentality, Doris. Good point. Thanks. Back to Collison. Dishes it to Reddick. Pass to Bullock. Shot clock at 6. Feeds it to Griffin. Fade away. The shot is off, and the Kings going the other way now. They've led by as much as 10. Marion, right side. The dish to Mbah-a-Moute. Back to Marion. From outside, off the mark. Clippers trail by 5. Here's Reddick. Nice D from Mbah-a-Moute.
Some rugged defense there against one of the stronger finishers in the game.
Landry with it. He's picked up by Jordan. It's Marion with the drive. And he was fouled on the way out. 2 free throws now for him. Chance to check out the Sacramento Kings' upcoming schedule. Moving on from this game, they're scheduled to take on the Lakers at the Staples Center. That'll be the last game of their very short 3-game road tour.
A lot of interesting stuff going on around the league, and I'll tell you, the game I have my eye on is the Clipper matchup. That should be a good one.
And the Kings making a change here. LA has gone 3 of 5 with the long ball since entering the second half. Green, the pass to Collison. Green kicks to Griffin. He's against Landry. Unloads. And that one's good. Griffin's got 15 points. Kings leading now by 4. He dishes it to Mbah-a-Moute. Kicks it to Marion. The three-pointer is right on target.
Wow. What can you say?
Clark, they've shared the load offensively.
Yeah, they've done a nice job with it, Kevin and Steve. I mean, everybody's touching the ball. There's a nice flow to what they're doing offensively.
Well, that makes it so much tougher to defend, too, when you have to account for all 5 offensive players, and the ball just moves so quickly. Tough to defend that.
Off the mark there with the three-point shot. The Clippers shooting an outstanding 55% from the field since the half. You know, their execution has been on point. He had a nice open look right there. Now just a 2-point Kings lead.
Well, once a shooter, always a shooter. J.J. Redick, one of the great marksmen of all time at Duke in the college game. And it's kept on rolling here in the NBA. He's got deep range on his 3. Can spot up and shoot from anywhere, and also put the ball on the floor a couple times and create a shot inside.
Great shot is right, and like you said, not only threes, but Steve, any shot where you give Redick a chance to set his feet and get a clear view of the hoop, his shot form is just too consistent for him to miss. He is one of those players who works on that just so diligently. You know he's going to find a degree of success every time out there. DeMarcus Cousins, he's checked in for Sacramento. Here's Wayans. Mbah-a-Moute with the steal. Marcus Thornton on the wing. Back to Marion. He passes it to Mbah-a-Moute. Here's Vasquez. They get it back. Cousins. And he goes in for the dunk.
Well, he won that battle. And in general, they're winning most of the battles tonight.
Well, those are some very easy points if you can get them.
Well, and like Clark said, they have been getting them, not necessarily all on putback dunks, but a lot of second chance opportunities.
29 seconds left in the third quarter. And Reddick kicks to Green. But they'll get another chance. He feeds it to Barnes. Back to Green. Pass to Wayans. Outside, Green. He kicks to Barnes. Back to Green. The pass to Wayans. The feed to Griffin. Cousins is there with the fadeaway. No good, trying to beat the buzzer. And we've reached the end of the third.
The newest 2K Style magazine arriving in
The fourth quarter just moments away now as we welcome you back. Our fourth quarter action underway, presented by Gatorade, all fueled up and ready to go. Let's reset the lineups. Taking a look at Los Angeles. CP3 and Jamal Crawford make the backcourt. Griffin is out there with Barnes, and it's Green in at the small forward position. The shot by Marion, no good. Clippers trail by 7. Back to Green. It's a nice passing here, but...
Oh, man, that was a real hard it out. Forget about going for the long-range bomb to cut into that lead. Just take it to the hoop, my friend. Take it to the hoop.
And how a brilliant throwdown.
Yeah, just exerting his authority out there.
Clark, some serious agility coming out of the backcourt.
You know, that bucket might count for a little more than 2 points when he finishes with that kind of flourish.
Yeah, against a D that was already reeling a little bit. That was like a body blow.
And here's a quick look at how the Clippers' schedule is shaping up. They'll be playing host to Chicago for their next game, and that will be the middle game of this 3-game homestand.
Tell you, I'm anxious to see what ends up happening with that Knicks game. Should be a good one.
Marion with it, and Crawford picks him up defensively. Marion against Crawford. Marion dishes to Vasquez. Near the three-point line, it's Thomas. That falls. Great assist by Vasquez.
And this game has really heated up. I didn't think it could get any more high scoring than it already was.
Well, there's always room for more offense, Steve. You know that.
Ball against Marion. That is good. 14 points for Chris Paul.
That's his forte. Finding that angle and then aggressively attacking the rim.
It's Marion with the drive. Passes it to Vasquez. Back to Marion. Amute, a screen on Paul. Outside for Thomas. Fires the three. It's hauled in by Jamal Crawford. Crawford's got 5 rebounds tonight.
If he can improve on what's been a shaky day for him thus far, they could stretch this lead out. Some fantastic numbers for Jamal Crawford. 18 points, and he's knocked down a pair of three-pointers in this game, too.
Well, they might want to think about setting a few more screens for him to try to give him another open look or two.
You know, this is an interesting little factoid, fellas. Jamal Crawford is the all-time career leader in 4-point plays. That's where you get fouled and make the three. There must be an art to it. If there is, he's the master artist.
McLemore's checked in for Vasquez. Here's Marion. Offline with his three. Clippers trail by 6. Just under 2.5 minutes gone here in the final quarter. Paul passes to Crawford. Dishes to Barnes. Nailed from three-point land. And Clark, you mentioned those 4-point plays. That may be harder to pull off now with the Reggie Miller rule. Officials will call an offensive foul if you kick out your leg on the shot. Will be freeze to do it all the time, and it hits the defender.
Yeah, that's how Jamal Crawford got a lot of those 4-point plays early in his career, but there's a reason that he's able to convert those, and it's because he can create his own shot off the dribble from the three-point line. And so a lot of times defenders are lunging at him because they put on their heels defensively because of his work off the dribble.
That's a good explanation. Gets it to go.
They've taken so many shots down there, and they're knocking them down. Really good looks in the paint.
No doubt the offensive philosophy today, pound that thing inside. Well, that's inexcusable to throw a pass that far off the mark.
Now the Clippers with it. It's been 8 unanswered points for them to take the lead. The shot's good from Paul. They got on this roll a while ago, and they just haven't looked back. And guys, here in the fourth quarter, still a close game.
Yeah, and actually still too close to call. I mean, this one is tight.
This could be an instant classic, fellas. I mean, this thing has all the looks of a game that's going to go right down to the last shot.
Doris Burke has an update for us. Doris?
During that break, Coach Mike Malone had some words for his team. He told them the game is right there for the taking, fellas, but we've got to be first. First to loose balls, first to the rim. We have to give our all right here. Kevin, now's the time.
Thanks a lot, Doris.
And the defense fouling there to prevent that layup, forcing 2 free throws here.
Nice job that time of attacking the paint and drawing the contact. They'll take that.
And the Kings making a change here. Landry's checked in.
There's not a lot you can say that hasn't been said before about his skill at the charity stripe.
Paul goes in. Here's Jordan. Here's Griffin. Well, it was only a matter of time, but they finally get the bucket. Griffin's got 9 points here in the second half. Marion against Paul. Here's Cousins. And he takes it in for the layup off a very nice feed. And the Kings lead by 3.
I tell you what, you don't want to allow too many of those kinds of baskets with the game on the line.
No, this is when defenses have to protect the basket with everything they got. Force the offense to shoot from the perimeter.
This is a fantastic performance in this half. He didn't play as well in the first, but you just know with this guy, he's always ready to turn it around.
Here's Marion. Trying to come right back with the 3 of his own, but it's no good. Marion against Crawford. The putback. Landry grabs the miss. For Sacramento, they've gotten just under 45% of their attempts to drop in the fourth, 4 of 9. Marion kicks to Cousins. Goes straight through the defender for the dunk. Draws the foul. He'll go to the line. It's going to be on Blake Griffin. Stupendous rush to the rim and a mighty slam on the end of it.
But through the teeth of some pretty soft D, I can't help but say that.
Well, let's see how that impacts things here, because those kinds of plays sometimes can be game changers on both sides.
Shot's good.
How about that going up strong? I mean, he doesn't care how much height he's giving up. It's attitude with him.
Marion outside. Back to Landry. The timely screen gave him a step, and he took it all the way.
Give an assist there, not for the pass, but for the solid screen set on the inside that freed him up and made the layup possible.
On the wing, Jamal Crawford. Out of bounds, Clippers ball as the Clippers keep possession.
Boy, that pass was in the air a long time.
Long enough for him to get a finger on it anyway and send it out of bounds.
Marcus Thornton, he's checked in for Sacramento. Griffin kicks to Jordan. Out of bounds, Sacramento will take possession. Kings leading now by 3. Now here's Marion. Marion gets the screen from Landry. Marion kicks to Landry, and that's out of bounds. Sacramento will retain possession. Here's Marion, and the 3 ball is good. Marion's got 59 points.
He's played an important role in their offense today, guys. Without him, they may not be in the league.
The fadeaway, and that one's good. Griffin.
He's been ready to do work in the fourth quarter.
The Kings have gotten more than 58% of their attempts to go down for them in the fourth quarter. They're 7 of 12. Open shot by Marion, and again it's Sacramento converting.
And he's performing at such a high level, and that's why they're in the lead right now.
Clippers trail by 6. Crawford dishes the ball. Pulls up. The Clippers rebound.
There's another opportunity, and everything's going right for these guys. Well, a good one here for Jordan. He's got 12 rebounds, and he's been a good on-the-ball defender, too. He's got a pair of steals.
Yeah, he's made some heads-up plays, Clark. He's done a really nice job defensively.
I tell you what, guys, I think most NBA fans can think back to last season when DeAndre Jordan had a dunk for the ages. I remember my son reached out to me by text and said, "Did you see what DeAndre did?" And it was major impressive.
Out of bounds, Clippers ball as the Clippers keep possession.
16 seconds on the shot. 16.
On defense, the Kings. They've led by as much as 10. Paul with the bucket. And for DeAndre Jordan, spectacular dunks are nothing new. I read the other day a 9'6" standing reach. He can touch the rim on the tips of his toes.
I read that too. It's interesting. I mean, he's so big and yet so explosive off his feet. So I think he has the ability to be one of the best defensive players in the NBA.
The shot by Marion, no good. Los Angeles has gone 2 of 3 in the fourth quarter from long range. Good shooting so far. He can fly, can he? He'll make you forget he's a point guard sometimes.
Yeah, when he does decide to attack the basket, Kevin, he can do it with the best of them.
And this is the time to attack with these two teams locked in such a close game.
And Paul gets it to go in.
He is just tearing it up this quarter. That lead's not going anywhere while he's this hot.
That drops. 63 points for Marion.
You know, with that much of a height advantage, that's exactly what you should do. Take it straight to the rim.
The Clippers shooting one of the high points for them in this game at 54%. Crawford passes to Paul. Feeds it to Barnes. And a great assist by Paul as that one goes in. Paul's got his 7th assist of the game with that last one. And Thornton kicks to Marion. And it's off from three-point range. Here's Los Angeles now. They're on a 13-4 run right now. Crawford drives in. Griffin. Landry grabs the miss.
That was a layup, and you've got to knock that down. You've got to convert when you get those opportunities.
And a miss there on the triple. Los Angeles leading by 3. Barnes with it. Guarded now by DeMarcus Cousins. Crawford. And it's the Clippers scoring again.
Whatever their plan was defensively that time, it didn't work. Not if it results in that shot.
They need a good offensive possession.
Yeah, they've had a number of empty ones, a long time without a basket.
They got to find something, you're right.
He almost got to that shot in time, but not quite. You can't touch the ball once it's on the way down.
And that call gets an instant reaction from the fans.
Well, that's a whistle that did not go over very well.
Paul is doubled. Griffin kicks to Crawford. Pass to Paul. It's a nice passing here by Los Angeles. Griffin dishes to Paul, and it's blocked by Marion, but they recover it. Clock at 6. Paul left side. Over Marion. It's hauled in by the Kings. Thornton's got 3 rebounds so far in the game. Oh, he's going up for the alley-oop here.
Nice silky finish on the alley-oop.
That sequence, I don't think Clark could have been executed any better.
Stupendous feed.
Boy, I hope we see a few more of those.
Paul kicks to Griffin. Back to Paul. There's the dish to Griffin. Let's go. 3T that time from Landry. The Kings trailing. 1:56 left in the fourth quarter. Takes the lead.
They are so productive in the low post right now. 8 straight points have come inside the paint.
That's bully ball they're playing there.
Paul goes in, and that one's good. Paul's got 28.
Well, he's found his game and his rhythm this quarter. He's gotten into a nice groove.
Marion backing down. He dishes it to Mba Amute. Thornton buries it from three-point range. And the Kings lead by 2. Time running low, guys, and somebody has got to win this one.
You know, quite honestly, Kevin and Steve, I mean, this game, as close as it's been, you really hate to see it come to an end.
I agree.
Well, then let's root for overtime. Why not?
Vasquez, he's checked in for the Kings. And that bucket ignites the crowd.
Crucial bucket there, and you hear it in their reaction.
And you can feel the energy throughout this building right now. What a huge shot.
And Barnes comes to help. In low to Cousins. Goes up high for the two-handed dunk.
How about that fantastic finish and the aggressive move, too, Kevin?
Trying to send a message, Clark, with that slam, I think.
Well, that's how you send it. 2 hands and hammer it down.
And 1:01 left in the fourth quarter.
This is the red-hot version of Chris Paul right there.
The Kings shooting extremely well here lately, around 61% in the fourth.
Cousins playing well. 18 points, and there's a nice number in his assist column as well.
Yeah, it is a nice number. He's taken it upon himself to really find his teammates and to get this offense going.
And that trip coming up empty, missing both. Los Angeles has gone 3 of 4 from downtown here in the fourth. It's stolen by Vasquez. And now here comes Vasquez leading the break.
And that is the shot of the game.
Well, he's got the guts and courage to take it and the skill to make it.
Steve, what a big possession right here.
No doubt, guys. You can feel the tension in this building.
And stolen by Cousins. Marion against Paul. And Paul over to help. Marion kicks to Vasquez. Marion. He passes to Vasquez. Just 5 on the clock. Knocks down the 3.
And they're getting that lead way up there now. I mean, it should be a stroll to the final whistle from here.
Yeah, this late in the game, it'd be almost impossible for them to blow a lead like this.
The 3 from Barnes. Landry grabs the miss. It's tipped. Here's Marion. And again, it's Sacramento converting.
Time to turn out the lights on this game.
I think they deserve a ton of credit for the way they played here today. Truly a professional display.
Paul with the 3. So the Kings win it. It was a solid win, Clark.
Yeah, it was, and I think it came down to
It's got to be a great feeling setting the team record for points tonight. How does it feel to achieve such an accomplishment?
It's pretty nice. I feel like I was in the zone all night long. My teammates kept getting me the ball, and before I knew it, I was having a crazy game. I didn't even realize I'd broken the team record until now, though. Really cool, especially considering everyone who came before me, man. I'm gonna keep this short, man. This place ain't the right fit for me. It's nothing personal, but I just can't play here no more. I need you to get me off this team before things get worse around here, period.
To be honest, I'm not interested in any more of your attitude. I've been shopping you already, but teams aren't exactly jumping out of their seats for your baggage. What teams do you want to play for? Maybe some teams' interest will perk up if they know you actually want to play there. Okay, wish me luck. I'd like to get this done and over with.
No doubt. All right, well, thank you. And good talk, man. I'll see you later.
But for the moment, we've got to stay together and keep our minds on this upcoming game against the Lakers. Let's go take care of business.